Adding page indicators and drop-down menus inside of Showit is absolutely possible, and it can really improve the functionality of the site. So I want to start with a page indicator. That one is the simplest of the two to create, and I'll show you a preview of what that looks like. So here we are in preview. You can see I have a line indicating that we are on the home page. When I click on the About page, if this is just a duplicate page, I just named it About, but you can see that the line moves back and forth depending on what page we're on. The biggest thing about this is that we still have a site canvas as the header. It's really important to use site canvases as the header because they're something that's on every single page. You want to just create it once, and then when you make edits to it in the future, it'll populate on every page that you're using. The problem with using page indicators is that in order to add a line to every page, you would have to edit the site canvas and make it a page canvas. But a workaround for that is actually to add a canvas underneath, and that has the line. The stacking order is just adjusted so that it sits on top. I'll show you what this looks like. So we're in the home page, and you can see over here I have a canvas called Active Home Line, and it is sitting underneath the header, but the stacking order is 11, where the stacking order on this header, the site canvas, is 10. So it sits on top, and I've just added a line. So if we move this canvas down, you can see that the height here, I've added a line to this canvas and then just moved it up top so that it sits nicely under the home page. Then all I did was make this 1 pixel high so it doesn't really add too much to the actual header. And then I've done the same thing on the About Us page. So if I go to page, I have the same thing, About Us line, simple. That's our shape here. And you can see it's on the exact same like y-axis as the home page. And that's really important so that when you go to preview and you're clicking back and forth between pages, it doesn't jump. It stays on the exact same axis, just making it really clean. So we've still got our header as a site canvas, and then all we did was duplicate what we did on the home page for this canvas here, this active home line. I just copied it, and I went to the About page. I pasted it in and then changed the name. Of course, this will only be visible on desktop, but that's all we need right now. And then I just moved the line. I expanded this canvas, I moved the line and measured it, made sure it was on the same axis by clicking on the actual element, clicking into the canvas, clicking on the actual element, making sure it's on the same y-axis. The x-axis will be different, making it aligned with the text. And then I just made this 1 pixel high, and I made sure that the stacking order for the active canvas or the page indicator canvas was higher than the header. You can get creative with this. This is an example of a page indicator where a box appears around the page that we're on. This works the same way, except for inside of the canvas underneath, that's 1 pixel high. Instead of it being a line, it's a box and a text. So your home menu, and it's in a different color. Here's a look into that canvas. It's called Active Home Box here. You can see that this is our piece of text, and then this is the box. And then same thing, I just made sure that when going from home to the About Us page or any other text in your menu, that it lines up on this axis here, and that the rectangle is exactly the same height. The width will change depending on the length of your text, but we want to make sure we'll go to actually size and position, height 34. Then when we go to the About Us page, we want to make sure that it is on the same exact size. So we're going to click on simple, 34, and we're on the same y-axis. There's lots of ways to play around with this concept, but once you have the basic functionality down, it's pretty easy to update and customize to your liking. The next thing that can improve your menu functionality is drop-down menus. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for everyone. I would only really recommend this if you have, for example, distinct services. So if you had 3 distinct services and they all have their own page, that's a great way to use the drop-down. I wouldn't do it, for example, if you're just trying to link to different sections on a page. I would do that menu kind of at the top of that exact page. So this we're actually going to do inside of the site canvas since it applies to every page. We're going to click into Edit Header, and you can see that I have 3 different canvas views right here. For the desktop version of this dropdown, we're only going to be focused on view 1 and view 2. And I'm going to show you how to build this from scratch, but I just want to make that clear. We're only working with 2 views right now. So when someone clicks on services, they're going to get this view 2 where they can select a page that they want to visit. I'll show you it in preview. So I click on services, it changes color, and then we get this nice subtle drop down, and then we have the different services that we can link to. You can make this as big or as small as you'd like, whatever fits your content best. Then when I click on services again, it'll close the drop down. Like a lot of things in Showit, there's multiple ways to do this, but I think that doing it this way with the two canvas views is the cleanest. So everything is out of our canvas views, and I'm actually just going to delete these so I can show you how to build it from scratch. So step one, of course, is to add our first canvas view by clicking on header, add canvas view. This first view is going to contain only the piece of text or your page that is going to have the drop-down menu. If you have multiple pages that will have a drop-down menu, you'll put them both in this first view. So let's move services up. Great, now it didn't disappear. It's going to automatically show the first canvas view, so this is now what we're working with. Now we are going to duplicate this view so that we have a second services inside here, and we are going to change the color by going to text style. Let's pick this light kind of aqua blue color. Great, so now when someone clicks on services, it'll appear having this kind of different light blue color. But we also want the drop down to appear, so that's where we actually start to build it. I'm going to start with a rectangle and make it the same color that we selected before. And then if you have a custom icon that you want to use, great, but I think that the arrow that is already built into Showit works great too. So we're going to go to icon chooser. It's somewhere down here at the bottom. There it is. And then we're going to just position this so that it is directly under services and change the color. So there is our icon in our box. Something really important at this stage is you want to move your icon down so that it is at the back. That way someone can still click on services and it's not blocked by the icon, since the kind of negative space inside this box is quite large. So now, of course, we need to add the pages to the dropdown. So I'm just going to copy this services button and change the color. And let's say that this is, I'm going to say just service one. Oops. Service one, and we will size that appropriately. Then I want to have, let's say, three services to choose from. I'm going to click on these and make sure that they're distributed properly. Looking good. I actually want to bring this up just a little bit so that everything looks nice and centered. We'll change this to 2 and 3. Great. Now, if I have these pages built out on the site already, I would go ahead and link them. Click actions, link to the page that they go to. Right now, they just need to be nothing. So the next thing that we need to link is everything to make this second view appear. So let's start with view 1. When I click on services, I want to go to canvas, the same canvas that we're on, this canvas, and then view 2 right here. Then we can actually just name this drop down to make it easy. Drop down, great. Now we also need to, inside of this drop down, since we have a blue services, which is separate from the one inside view 1, we need to link that one as well. So it's not going to go to view 2 anymore. It's going to go back up to view 1 to get us to where we were at the beginning. Now we can preview this and see how it's looking. So we have our menu. When I click on services, it changes color, gives us our beautiful drop down. And when I click on it again, it disappears. Great. Something else I kind of like to do on my drop down menus is add an effect. So if we go drop shadow, we go outer. I'm going to make it kind of a softer blue that I'm already using in my palette. And let's adjust the offset just a little bit. Great, I can apply this same style to our little carrot up here as well. That looks good. We can preview it again just to see how that looks layered over. Yeah, that looks nice. Kind of matches the other styles that I have going on. So this is great for desktop, but we also have to think about our mobile experience. Click over to the mobile tab and you want to hide the shapes that we created for the dropdown. So it's this icon, we're going to hide this on mobile, as well as the box that is in the second view, and view 1 you can just leave alone. The way I always do my menus is I have a header or the menu up top, and then at the bottom is where I have the menu that pops up. It's a separate canvas, and the stacking order is adjusted to sit right below the header. I won't really be going into how to set up a mobile navigation menu in this video, but if that's something you want to see, definitely comment below. Here is the structure of our menu. Actually, let's go to preview and you can see how it works first, and then I'll explain how it's set up. So click on the menu, this will pop down, and then when we click on services, it extends down further and we get those 3 services. You can be creative with the way you display this. Maybe it pops out to the side. It's totally up to you, but this is how I've set it up here. When someone clicks on services again, it'll disappear and bring this back up. So looking good. So just like we did with the page indicator, I'm going to actually just delete this canvas and take you through it from the beginning. So I deleted that. I'm going to add a blank canvas. I'm going to move it just under our footer so it's down here at the bottom. And I'll size it to what I think will be good. Let's do 320. Awesome. Now we need to include all of the links that we had in the main menu for desktop version. So we had home, we had an about us, of course we had our services, and if you're wondering how I am duplicating these so easily, I'm just holding down the Alt or Option key, clicking, dragging, and then releasing the mouse and then releasing the button. Next, I believe we had contact. And just for the hell of it, I'm going to add maybe a link to our FAQs and let's say Instagram, just so we can fill out this menu a little more nicely. Give people some shortcuts. All right, great. We want to also make sure that these are spaced, looking good. Okay, so say that we are completely happy with this. Now we need to add in our views and the drop down. So first here, on canvas view, put just the services inside the view. But because our drop down is going to be expanding kind of in a vertical way instead of going out to the side, these will also have to move or they're going to get covered up by the box. So we also want to put that in view 1. So anything that needs to adjust goes in the first view. And then we create a new canvas view, so add canvas view, and this is where not only the services goes again, so we can copy and paste that so it's exactly the same spot. We can change the color here again, and then we'll start to add our box. So I'm going to go to rectangle, kind of size this so we have enough space to include our 3 services. Those different options here, adjust the styling. Maybe we want to add our icon as well. Icon chooser, we had, I believe, this carrot. And then this is just really building it out. You can make this as custom as you want to and be super creative, or you can keep it really simple. It really depends on your design style and kind of the aesthetic of the site. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now we can add our actual services. Just like, see, when I clicked on this, we want to make sure the same thing on desktop, that this icon is actually behind and the services button is on top. That way someone is not being blocked when they go to click by this box, which is quite large. So we're going to add our services here, change the color so we can actually see it. Looking good. And let's say this is service 1. I'm going to duplicate that 2 times. And we may need to adjust this so that not only is it even, but it also fits inside this box. Scoot it over just a little bit. So I can fit this on 1 line, but you may need to expand your drop down even further if you have more than 2 or 3 links. At this point, you would go in and actually connect these. So click action, connect it to the right page. I don't have those pages set up, so I'm going to skip that for now. So what's missing is the content below services in our main view that needs to be added back in. So I'm just going to copy here and I'm going to paste it into the second view. And it's going to be kind of overlapping. So we just want to drag it down so that it looks nice and it's still in line. We can even kind of position these all in line if we want to. If we do that though, we just need to make sure we do it on this side as well, so that there's no jumping when you switch from view to view. There's a little bit of a jump there with these services. So that's when I would go into size and position and make sure, so Y is 124 and X is 107. Let's just double check that. 124 at 107, there we go. So now it should be really clean when we go back and forth. So we have our two views. Now we just need to add our click action. So I'm inside the first view, I'm clicking on service, click action, canvas, same thing as desktop, this canvas, view 2. I always uncheck scroll to canvas and reverse transition direction, but it's up to you. And then I'm going to go to view 2, and on view 2 we are going to do the opposite. So canvas, this canvas, and instead of view 2 it's view 1, and uncheck these. We need to make sure that we give this canvas a label. So I'm going to say open menu. Then I'm also going to check to make sure that it is hidden to start. So we're going to go to canvas, hidden to start, and sticky, I want it to be at the top. This way, when you're at the top of the navigation here, when you click on it, wherever you are on the page, this menu will pop up and stay up front until you interact with it. Let's go down to open menu. We're going to convert to site canvas. Great. Then we are going to go to our header, click on here, and then select open menu from the drop down. Open menu 1 was from when I was testing it before. Great. So we'll go to preview. Click on here, our site canvas, this is our open menu. It needs to be styled to match our design more, but you kind of get the point. When I click on services, we have enough room to drop down, and then we have our 3 different services to select. The only problem with this menu right now, other than the background needs to be styled, is that this didn't change. So we don't have a way to exit like this menu. So what we need to do is go back to the header here, and this is where we add that third canvas view. If you remember from when we were designing this on desktop, I said we had 3, but only the first 2 were relevant for desktop. So this, we're gonna click on here, and it's gonna go to canvas, this canvas, and we're gonna make a third view. So here, add canvas view, and we're gonna label this mobile, just so we know. M-O-B-I-L-E, great. Okay. So this is our hamburger icon. We're going to make a copy of this, and we're going to make sure it is in the third canvas view. So we're going to Command C, click on our view, Command V, and we're going to change this to an X. So this one works. Great. And then we want to move our icon to view 1, our main icon. So the hamburger is in view 1 and the X is in view 3. So when someone clicks on the hamburger, they need to be directed to view 3. So make sure that is set up here, canvas, this canvas, view 3. We also want an action, and we want it to show our open menu. And then in view 3, when someone clicks on the X, we want it to hide the open menu. And then we want the canvas view to go back to view 1. So canvas, this canvas, view 1. So we're completely ignoring the second view that is only for desktop. Now we are going to do a test. So preview. Click on here, we switch to the X, we have our menu, and we click on services, it drops down. I am going to adjust the styling a little bit here so you can see kind of a better idea of what it should look like. Let's change the canvas background to one in our palette, and I'm also going to add a bit of a border. So I'm going to add a rectangle, and this is where you can go in and get creative and style it, whatever makes sense for you. I like to really make sure that my menu is distinguishable when it's popped out from the rest of the content on the site. So give it a bit of a border. I also can kind of scoot it up just a bit to make it a little more even. Great, doesn't get cut off there. We also want to make sure this is not in any of the views, that it stays the same. Adjust this maybe. Let's move it back. This is just me playing around. Great, okay. Back to homepage, preview. Let's do it on desktop. So desktop, we have services, our drop down, and then you can select the service. You can close it. On mobile, we have drop down menu, click on services, select the service, close it. If you're not a fan of the spacing here when services is closed, what you can do is actually make this entire canvas window height. So sticky top canvas, edit canvas, window height, and then you can just make sure that everything is centered properly. In this example, we'll also have to select our rectangle that we created and make sure it has vertical locking on. Let's try that now. So we're on preview, click here, looks centered, and then services drops down and you just have a lot more negative space. So you can play around with the sizing of your text. It really depends on how many links you have in your menu, if you have fun things like images or other elements like logos and stuff, but that is the basic principles. Thanks for playing around with me inside of Showit and working on menus. If there's anything else you'd like to see or you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comments and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more fun things inside of Showit.